So, from our irony file, this is like one of the greatest stories ever. So, the University of Chicago's Institute of Politics and the Atlantic magazine just hosted a conference, no self-awareness whatsoever, entitled Disinformation and the Erosion of Democracy. What the speakers didn't count on, the expected hours of just bloviating, is that there are still a couple of kids at the University of Chicago who are awake enough to say, wait a second, what are you talking about? Disinformation?
Hey, what's up, peeps? Jazz Borgazzo here. Another episode of What's Next, your daily dose. Hope you guys are enjoying this day. Weekend edition. There was a little conference that occurred earlier this week, and it had one Brian Stelter. Yes, our favorite little eunuch, as one Tucker Carlson. Yes, the man you cannot cuck calls him, and of course lovingly so. He, along with several like-minded people, showed up at a conference to talk about the most heinous, disrespectful, vicious word out there today. Disinformation and misinformation. Yes, those two heinous words they were there to talk about. But what Brian Stelter didn't expect was someone to step up and call out the little eunuch and cuck NN for the ass clowns that they are, or translation, the liars that they are. Let's take a look. This comes out of USSA Today News, not Today News, excuse me, USSA News. Must see, CNN's Brian the Eunuch Stelter gets called out for fake news by college freshmen. CNN's Brian the Eunuch Stelter appeared a bit flummoxed after college freshmen confronted him over what the student described as CNN's habit of pushing disinformation that magically benefits only one political party. Readers can probably guess which political party the young man was referring to. Stelter visited the University of Chicago on Thursday to participate in a Q&A forum titled Disinformation and the Erosion of Democracy. Yes, of course, it's easy for the left to push democracy when we actually live in a republic. Apparently with no sense of humility or self-awareness at all. Shocker. Freshman Christopher Phillips rose to address Stelter on the network's numerous efforts to push disinformation. Quote, "You've all spoken extensively about Fox News being purveyor of disinformation, but fake news CNN is right up there with them," Phillips opened. Quote, "They pushed the Russian collusion hoax, perpetual victim and fairy Jussie Smollett hoax, smeared Justice Kavanaugh as a rapist, and they also smeared Nick Sandmann as a white supreme. And yet they dismissed the crackhead Hunter Biden laptop affair as pure Russian disinformation," Phillips slammed CNN with. Quote, "With mainstream corporate journalists becoming a little more than apologists and cheerleaders for the regime, it's time to finally declare that the canon of journalistic ethics is dead or no longer operative. Hello, FBI, I like to report a murder. Watch the incredible moment unfold."
Hi, thank you for coming. My name is Christopher Phillips. I'm a first year at the college. My question is for Mr. Stelter. You've all spoken extensively about Fox News being a purveyor of disinformation, but CNN is right up there with them. They pushed the Russian collusion hoax. They pushed the Jussie Smollett hoax. They smeared Justice Kavanaugh as a rapist, and they also smeared Nick Sandmann as a white supremacist. And yes, they dismissed the Hunter Biden laptop affair as pure Russian disinformation.
Yes.
With mainstream corporate journalists becoming little more than apologists and cheerleaders for the regime, is it time to finally declare that the canon of journalistic ethics is dead or no longer operative? All the mistakes of the mainstream media, and CNN in particular, seem to magically all go in one direction. Are we expected to believe that this is all just some sort of random coincidence, or is there something else behind it?
It's too bad.
Wait for it.
You have 30 seconds.
No, I mean, there's a clock that says 30 seconds. But I think my honest answer to you, and I'll come over and talk in more detail after this, is that I think you're describing a different channel than the one that I watch. But I understand that that is a popular right-wing narrative about CNN. I think it's important when we talk about shared reality and democracy. All these networks, all these news outlets have to defend democracy. And when they screw up, admit it. But when Benjamin Hall, the Fox correspondent, was wounded in Ukraine, The news crews at CNN and the New York Times stopped what they were doing, and they tried to help. They tried to help him get out of the country. They tried to find the dead crew members. That's what news outlets do. That's how they actually do work together, to your question about sharing those kinds of connections and trust.
What does that have to do with this question?
We don't share that reality about how that happens. And with regards to the regime, I think you mean the President Biden. The last time I spoke with a Biden aide, we yelled at each other. So that's the reality of the news business that people don't see, that people don't hear. They imagine that it's a situation that it simply is not. But I think your question, it speaks to the failure of journalism to show our work and show the reality of how our profession operates. We have a lot of work to do, I think.
My thoughts. For the little eunuch to blow it off like it's some kind of joke, never did answer the question directly. The college student called out 4 prominent issues: the Russian collusion, Juicy Smollett, you had Nick the Sandman, and of course, the Kingpin, one Hunter Biden, crackhead and all. Of course, the laptop, which was deemed factual from the get-go by one New York Post, never did answer it. He danced around it, brought up the Fox News correspondent who was injured in Ukraine, which was true. But at the end of the day, no surprise that he will not slam his own network, not bite the hand that feeds him. When you have a guy who basically was selling oranges on the highway, who's now corresponding for CNN, which was once a bastion of journalistic integrity, way, way, way back in its early conception, this is what you get. And this is what you have. And once again, Brian Stelter proves every bit and ounce of his name. He is the little eunuch. And with that being said, I'm Jasper Gonzo. This is What's Next. Want to see more just like this? Please leave a comment below. Like it, share it, subscribe to it. And we catch you guys next time. Peace.
I think you're describing a different channel than the one that I watch. But I understand that that is a popular right-wing narrative about CNN.